In this tutorial, we're going to look at creating content in your Brightspace course, essentially looking at the module structure and how we build them into our course. You can see here on my course homepage, I have started to build some of these. So this visual table of contents actually holds some of the modules I've started to create. Let's take a look at how this is done. So we're going to go right here to our content button and click it. And this is where we'll build our content. And you can see that I've started to build some modules here. The welcome module, week 1, week 2, week 3, and so forth. Then I have a couple of modules here that I've hidden from view right now because I'm either working on them or working on objects in those places. And I wouldn't want students to see that material as I work on it if the course happens to be live. And each of these numbers that are listed in the module are the number of items that are in each module. So in the welcome module, I have 1. In week 1, I have 8 topics or 8 items in that module. And so it just sort of gives you a quick visual representation of how much information is in each of these modules. And then this 19 is the total of all these numbers here. But let's take a look at how we can build a module. So we're going to go down and we'll add a module. And sort of to keep with this theme here of building by week, I'm going to add week 4. And I just type in week 4, hit return, and the module is created. You can see over here on the right hand side, the module is in place and it's ready to be worked on. But it's just for ease, I want to move this week 4 up here so it sits right under week 3, and that's really easy to do. If you just go down to this little waffle next to it, left click on that and drag it up, you can see it turns blue. You see that line there? Whoops, we overshot. I want to put it right under week 3. I see that line, I let go, and it moves up there, and I'm able to work on it. You can see I'm in week 4 with that with that little arrow right here pointing at week 4 to work. Now, if I wanted to edit the title of this right away, I could click this drop down here. I could edit the title. Since I'm working on it, and if my course was live, I might hide it from the users right now. You can see this visibility changes over here. So as I work on it, students would be able to would not be able to see it. And then there's just some other options that you have here to work with the module. And then finally here, you could delete the entire module if you wanted to. If you were like cleaning up a course and getting rid of old material, that's where you would delete that from. Now, the first aspect of this is to add dates and restrictions. Essentially, what that does is if you add a start date and an end date, that will create a window in which students would be able to access or actually work with the material in this week. If you don't put anything there, as soon as it is visible to them, they will be able to interact with it. But say you wanted to structure your course so they could see week 1 at a certain date, week 2 at another date, and so on. This gives you the options to sort of control that flow of information if you wanted to choose it. Again, they would see that the week 4 module existed, but they just wouldn't be able to click on it and do it. And then, you could set these due dates so that students would have a idea of when they should start to, really focus on that information. Right now, you can just add a start date by clicking on it and clicking here again, picking where you might want it to start and moving through that. We're just going to, if you accidentally click on that, you don't want to do date, just click that X and it'll remove that date and we can move forward. Now, release conditions are another tool in which you can control the flow of how a student can access this module. And a release condition does exactly that, creates a condition that a student must complete before they would have access to this module. And so there, if you click on this drop down here to select a condition type, you can see that there's a whole host of conditions that you could set up for a student to access this particular module. Now, it might be completing module 3 or getting a certain score on a quiz that happened to be in the week 3 module, or getting a certain grade, or visiting a particular piece of content topic. So you can sort of experiment with these in your sandbox, or call us up to ask any questions. But it's just a sort of another way to sort of open a door to this module if you wanted to sort of put that door in place so a student would have to have a certain level of understanding before they moved on to the next topic. And we are just going to close that at the moment, so we won't create any release conditions at this time. And we'll just click this update, and since we didn't put anything there, you don't see anything in those particular dates and restrictions. Now, description is kind of a neat place. You could put in a description about what is in this module so they would know what to expect. You could put in here the topics you were going to cover. And again, since you have this full editor here, you could insert video, you could insert pictures, you could put links to various levels of content. So this is a really powerful tool if you wanted to, put a certain level of description in here. And the other thing, this description here will show up on the visual table of contents we talked about when we first opened up this page. And one other note, any image that you add here will show up in that visual table of contents on your first page as well. So it's kind of a way to add a little bit more pizzazz, perhaps, to your module structure. And we all set there for now, and we'll click Update. All right, we have the basic module set up. Now we're going to add content or topics to this module, and to do that we hit this Upload Create button. And you can see here you have a variety of options to bring content into this particular module. You can create a quiz, you can create a survey, you can create a discussion, you can create an assignment. All those are places you can hand in. One you might be familiar with is uploading a file. Now this can be a PDF, a PowerPoint, something along those lines, a Word document that you want to share with your students, whatever that looks like. So if you sort of click on there, you'll come to this window. You can go to My Computer, and then it will ask you to click on this, and you can upload a file, or you can also drag and drop a file. Now I've created a real simple PowerPoint to add here so that it uploads quickly. Larger PowerPoints may take a few minutes to process, so you'll see a green bar here if that were the case. Once you have this file listed here, you can click Add. And it will drop this PowerPoint presentation in there for students to see. Now, this is a note. PDFs, Word docs, PowerPoint presentations, when they come into Brightspace, they are converted into the PDF view. So here is the PDF view of this slide. Now I said this was a very simple PowerPoint that I created here just for this demonstration. You can see that opening slide, slide 1, 2, 3 in the PowerPoint form. And that will be pretty much how all documents come into Brightspace. And if we go back, use our breadcrumbs up here at the top to go back to week 4. If a student downloads this presentation, it would download in its original PowerPoint form, not the PDF form that was created for viewing within the module. So just a useful piece of information here. The other tools you have available here is that you can add a video or audio file, and that sort of embeds the video or audio file into your course. You can add a link. Again, that could be a link to any other external web page or so forth. You could build that right into your course. And there's one other aspect I want to mention here, and that is actually called Create a File. And essentially what that does is open up this editor so that you can actually create a sort of mini web page within your course of which you can push content, links, text, and so forth into that. And I'll show you an example from our D2L training course. And here we are in the module section of that D2L training course and creating modules. And if you look here, sort of creating modules, it says web page under there. That is actually where we've sort of created a file. And if you click on that, you can see that it sort of created this little web page. And we were able to bring in some text with links, some images, and so forth, put a banner at the top. And if we go back and take a couple of a look at some of these others using our breadcrumbs, you can see here that little web page and so forth that are aspects of this. And we'll go one more time in here, sort of pedagogical considerations. Again, you can see we brought in the content, the images. So it's just another way to for students to sort of see the visualization and bring content for them to for the class. One other tool, and what we built a lot of those pages were templates. And if you look at this select a template button here, you can drop down that template and you can see all the different types of templates that exist within your D2L course. Some basic course introductions, some basic modules, some basic pages. One that we build from a lot is called this element page, and I'm just going to click on that. And you can see here it brings in a template on which you can build with. You can change any of these elements in here. You can copy any of these elements in here. But you can see you got these numbered lists, and you've got some block quotes and jumbotrons. That's, you know, some basic tables. So you have these host of tools on which you can create and build from. One thing I do want to say though is if you build into this editor at anything else and then you decide to go with a template, when you bring in that template, everything in that editor will be deleted. So if you're going to use a template, drop it in first and then sort of work from there. And I'm just going to put this here so we can have, you know, we have a little editing there. And then again, you can add those content or delete any of this as you want. And I'm going to click Save and Close. Let me put in the title. This is, we'll call this Week 4 Information. And we'll click Save and Close. And you can see that little web page, this is what it looks like, just with those couple of additions we made and then all those tools that are here. So if we go back to week 4 and we look at our module, we can see that we've got our PowerPoint presentation here and that week 4 information here. So those are the two parts, the two topics in our module that we've created so far. You can also grab things from your existing activities. So if you had created assignments or quizzes or something along those lines that you wanted students to work with, you could bring those in. So if I click on my assignments tool, it's going to take me to this assignment page where my assignments are listed, or the assignments that I can add in here. Right now I have one, so if I clicked on that, you can see it would pop it right down here as an assignment. And again, if I wanted to bring in a quiz or an update, I could bring in that quiz. I'm just going to grab this quiz here as an example, and then it'll pop that quiz right down there. So you can see it would be pretty easy to build a module. And again, we could talk to you about cycles and how those will best serve you. I'm just making some demonstrations here on how to put various types of content into this, as opposed to sticking to a best practices on how this actually might be laid out. So that's essentially how to create your module and add content. And again, you can grab that content from your computer to bring it in here. And then when that is complete, you can just, it's like, okay, I think I have it ready for students. I can click that magic eye in the top and make it visible so students will be able to interact with it. Right now, this quiz 1 isn't active or isn't visible because in the quiz settings I have it there. I am going to actually make that visible so students could actually work with that quiz. If you wanted to take a look at what this module was going to look like as a student, remember you could go up here to your name, click View as Student, and I'm going to go down here and look at week 4, and you can see that what this looks like. And then to undo my view as a student, I'll go up here, click this X. It'll take me back to the beginning of the course again. I can scroll down here, go to week 4, and continue my work on this particular element if I wanted to. Now, if I had not made that visible, when I went to see this as a student, it would disappear, and I wouldn't even know that it was available to me if I viewed that as a student. So I would not be able to see that if the visibility was not checked. All right, let's go back to my course home. And that is the basics on building a module and some of the tools that are available in there. Again, reach out to us if you want to learn specifics about creating content in any way, shape, or form, or some of the best practices around doing so. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day, and we hope to talk to you soon. Be well.